What's going on, everybody? It's episode 21 of the Game Room Podcast. I'm your host, Rome, alongside my co-host, producer Jeff. How are you doing tonight, producer Jeff?
What's up, guys? I'm doing good, man. Thanks for asking.
And so Dev isn't here tonight. He's feeling a little under the weather. Hopefully, he's feeling better soon. But Jeff, let's dive right in. We got some news to talk about. A lot of movie stuff going on in the gaming sphere this week. Minecraft, Street Fighter, obviously Mario Brothers, and we're going to talk about all of it. But first, news number one on the headlines. Pokemon Stadium is coming to Nintendo Switch Online expansion pack on April 12th. Jeff, have you ever played Pokemon Stadium?
Um, I'm pretty sure I've told you Pokemon Stadium is my favorite Pokemon game. I rented it from Blockbuster Video as a child. That's how old I am. And I played that until they literally called me or called my mom, and they were like, "Yeah, he needs to bring that game back." My mom made me bring it back.
Well, you just have to keep re-renting it. That's the trick. And they stop
Yeah.
calling. But I guess you got to pay for it. At that point, you might as well buy it. Yeah, no, I'm right there with you. Mario Party is or Mario Party, sorry, Pokemon Stadium. I was looking at something on Discord. Pokemon Stadium is one of my just favorite Pokemon games. It's a game that like I really want to see them replicate in today's Pokemon landscape. And they haven't done it, which has really been kind of frustrating. But the fact that we're getting it on the NSO is pretty damn awesome. And I'm definitely going to be playing it.
Yeah, that's great. I can't wait. I might have to dust off the old Switch for this one. TJ in chat says, "What's good? Just landed back in Dublin, so can listen for a bit." Oh, dude, I'm so jealous. I want to go to Dublin. Anywhere in Ireland, actually.
Yeah, the wife and I would love to go to Ireland. Now, the cool thing about this, Jeff, is that this will have online battles.
What?
Yes.
Oh,
So,
dude.
online Pokemon battles, 6v6, choose your Pokemon, not having to raise them all up and stuff, which again, obviously I love the traditional way of playing a Pokemon game, but sometimes you just want to screw around with the Pokemon that exists. You know what I mean? Like you just want to pick through the menu
Dude.
and make a team and just go out and see what happens. And I love it.
I did not know there was going to be online battles. Oof. Oh, man.
Well, so this is the one nice thing about Nintendo Switch Online is that it has online multiplayer for all of their games technically. The way it works is that it's not that it has a built-in online feature now. It's that they have the players connect online via the Switch itself. And so it's like, okay, well, these four players are connected right now. So this is player one port, this is player two port, et cetera, et cetera.
Okay.
So it's kind of not built in, but it's kind of just like slapped on there. So it's not always perfect. But yeah, I mean, it works for the other games that are already out. So, you know.
Hey, if it works, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Exactly. But that's something to keep in mind, and that actually comes out in 2 days. So we'll be talking about that a little bit later in the game releases. Let's move right on to number 2, our first movie news of the week. A live-action Minecraft movie starring Jason Momoa, go figure, will release on April 4th, 2025.
So is he gonna be like the dude going exploring this new world? Like,
I would assume so. I have no idea. All I have is what's in front of me, and it's that the live action Minecraft movie starring Jason Momoa will release on April 4th, 2025.
I don't know how I feel about that. Seeing his face next to the Minecraft like character model, I'm just like, no.
I think it's definitely an interesting thing. We'll have to see how it works out.
Oh, it'll be interesting. Let's see.
TJ asked a really interesting question in the chat saying, how would a modern Pokemon Stadium game play out? I mean, honestly, the same way that the original did. I think you would just have all of the features that you had in the first two games, but instead you have the roster or whatever the selection completely opened up. I mean, we already know these Pokemon. They already have move sets. They already have all of these things in place. It just takes a matter of someone putting them all into a menu. So I mean,
Dude, I'm telling you, you take Pokemon Arceus and you just put the stadium in the middle of the city somewhere, and you
Mm,
make this like an MMO Pokemon game where you go the farther away from the city you go, you know what I mean? You're collecting all the different Pokemon, but you can go to the stadium and battle like a PvP arena.
right.
Dude, I'll be there all day.
No, I agree. I would love a Pokemon MMO. I don't know if Nintendo and Game Freak are ever gonna have um the guts to do it, but that's a game that I really would love to play, a Pokemon MMO. I would get lost in that.
Just imagine Arceus after you finished your Pokedex if there was a stadium to go to and go battle people. Like, oh,
Good stuff. Good stuff.
so good.
Anyways, number three, Jeff. Sony is making a handheld, apparently, a new handheld.
Okay.
According to Insider Gaming, following days of speculation, Insider Gaming can report that there's a new PlayStation handheld in development. Codenamed the Q Lite, the next PlayStation handheld is the next piece of Sony hardware that aims to be yet another piece of hardware that requires the PlayStation 5. Insider Gaming understands that the Q Lite is not a cloud streaming device, but instead uses remote play with the PS5, a feature the console giant has been pushing these past couple of weeks. Um, as for the console's physical features, early prototypes show the console will look a lot like a PS5 controller, but with a massive 8-inch LCD touchscreen in the center. The device sports adaptive triggers for haptic feedback that will include what you would come to expect from a handheld: volume buttons, speakers, an audio input jack, etc. The Insider Gaming understands that the Q Lite is in its QA phase and is scheduled to release before the PS5 Pro and after the detachable disk drive PS5. Um, you know, I'm trying to give Sony the benefit of the doubt here, but it has to be said that they have done an absolutely terrible job at supporting hardware outside of their main console.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at the Vita, like the PS Vita is one of the most odd things because there was a legitimate hardcore fan base for the PS Vita. Like, you know what I mean? Like there
Yeah.
were a lot of people wanted to support that thing, and Sony was just like, "Nah, we're not doing it." And then they discontinued it. And then PSVR 2, as we've talked about here on the show, it's just doing poorly. It's not selling, and you can't find them in stores. They're not even selling them in stores. I just don't think they do a very good job at supporting their own hardware, which is just the weirdest thing.
Yeah, it is odd, but it's funny that you say there was some hardcore PS Vita fans. I had like barely ever heard of the thing and I was just like vaguely aware of it. And then I met this dude who owned like every game ever on it. He had spent like a couple $1,000 and I was like, "Bro, I didn't even know this console existed before you." Like, "What?"
Yeah, it's so weird. It's so weird how they don't do it. And it's kind of funny to me, but I can't help but draw the comparison that Xbox does such a good job at promoting their hardware, at making sure that they support their hardware and whatever it is, whether it be they're supporting, whatever they're doing, they're supporting. And it's just kind of weird that it's like no one really ever talks about this where Sony just outside of their main consoles, man, like they don't do very well like with their hardware. And I would say pretty safely that there is no chance I'm picking this up.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I would say right now is we have a really good example of how to do this handheld really, really well with the Switch and with this new Steam Deck. So, maybe in the past they were kind of like, this thing's effed. There's no point in us keeping going with it. But now that they have, some benchmarks, like maybe they'll make a quality, a really, really good quality product that they actually care about.
Yeah, definitely. TJ in the chat says my thoughts are simple on this. Streaming handheld doesn't make much sense for Xbox or Sony, but if we take a step back, what's the cost on making this device? Probably not much. I don't know. I would argue that the cost might be more than you're expecting. If the reports are saying that it's got all the internals of a PS5 controller in terms of the haptic feedback and like that PS5 controller is packed with some really really good stuff. And if they're looking to make that part of their system, I don't know. Like apart from it being a system, Like I don't know. I think it would be
I
more
mean,
expensive than you're thinking.
they've already made a couple $1 billion off of the PS5, so you know they got some to spare. I would imagine.
Sure. I mean that's a fair counterpoint. I'll give you that. But I mean, I guess we'll just have to see whenever this officially gets announced before we
And
really kind of sit down and critique it or judge it. But just based
yeah,
off
and
the initial vibe, I don't
before
know
you
how.
said it was gonna have like PS5 parts, I was gonna say that all the repurposed PS4s that they collect, they were probably gonna swap out some parts and throw them in there, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. But you will see. All right, next up, number 4 in the headlines. More movie news. A Street Fighter film and the TV rights have been bought by Legendary Entertainment. According to the official Street Fighter Twitter account, which noted that the project will be a co-production between Capcom and Legendary Entertainment. Beyond that, the details are scarce, but we're told to expect more news in the future. They've also confirmed that that it will be a live action movie. Um, and I mean, we're going to talk more about it, later when we talk about the Mario movie. But my initial thoughts about this are, okay, well, you're going to have to really nail this then, because we're kind
Yeah.
of now entering an age where expectations for gaming related shows and movies, especially with The Last of Us and Mario Brothers coming out this year, like the bar is officially raised.
Oh yeah.
If you're going to do a live action, you got to do it really well. We'll see. I'm always so kind of like, what are you going to do? I guess there is some lore in the Street Fighter franchise, but it's like, man, what are you going to do for a movie? it's
I mean,
oh,
if you remember back the original Street Fighter movie, if you've ever seen it with Jean-Claude Van Damme, um, the story was kind of like Bison is doing all those chemical weapons and stuff, creating dudes like Blanca. Bison's like a military dude trying to take over the world. Blah blah blah.
yeah, that's fair. All right, let's get into the the Activision acquisition portion of the show with number 5 in the headlines. Uh, so Sony, as you recall, producer Jeff or co-host Jeff, just Jeff tonight, as you would recall, we the CMA came out and they were like, yeah, you know what, this acquisition's in terms of gaming in a marketplace sense in the console, sector, it's probably fine. We don't really have a lot of issues with that. Well, so Sony responded to this, the CMA siding with Microsoft over Call of Duty on PlayStation's concerns. It calls the CMA's reversal of its position surprising, unprecedented, and irrational. They say the provisional findings assessed a significant body of evidence in the round to support its finding that Microsoft would have the ability to incentive to withhold Activision content, and that this would substantially lessen competition by foreclosing PlayStation. In assessing this body of evidence, the PFs emphasized, consistent with jurisprudence on the CMA's duty to assess evidence, that it is particularly important in this case to assess the merged entity's incentive to foreclose by considering all the available evidence in the round rather than focus on a single model. Uh, so they're still arguing that Microsoft could sabotage Call of Duty on PlayStation, pointing out a bunch of comparisons from Digital Foundry, stuff like that. They say that today Activision goes to great lengths to promote console competition by releasing an equally high quality Call of Duty game on PlayStation and Xbox, while making use of their somewhat different technical capabilities. Post-transaction, Microsoft would different incentives because degrading the experience on PlayStation would benefit Xbox, PlayStation's closest rival. Microsoft would have no incentive to make use of advanced features in PlayStation not found in Xbox. Yet the addendum claims that Microsoft would not have the ability to engage in partial foreclosure. It does so despite its recognition that Call of Duty is critically important for console competition and fully withholding Call of Duty would foreclose PlayStation. Um, and then lastly, the last bit I wanted that I found on Twitter I found really funny from Tom Warren. Um, the finding is unsubstantiated and inconsistent with the evidence. It appears to be based on speculation that deterioration in Call of Duty would be modest, and as a result, the CMA would expect only a fraction of gamers would switch to Xbox. Yet, it is difficult to conceive of an industry where consumers are more attuned to quality and where quality affects purchasing decisions. Call of Duty gamers are passionate, knowledgeable, and sophisticated, Jeff. Gamers engage with each title in the franchise immediately after its release, are keenly aware of a game's specific price, quality, yada yada yada. As Tom Warren says on Twitter here, I guess nobody at Sony has ever used a headset in a Call of Duty lobby. Like, look, man, this is just laughable. They are just
Hold on. All right. So my screen here is obviously Call of Duty themed. This is so laughable to me. I'll give them passionate, but it stops there. Knowledgeable and sophisticated. You spend 5 minutes in a lobby in Call of Duty, and you will think twice about the future of the human race. That's all I can tell you.
oh, it's terrible. It's absolutely terrible. And it's so laughable. I love bringing this stuff up, not because it's newsworthy, because it's really not newsworthy, but just to see this corporation kicking and
Dude,
screaming, and it's
it,
like,
it,
oh, they're going to put out a buggy version of the game, and customers aren't going to come back to PlayStation. And man,
bro, there
it's
is no other place on this planet where I have been called the N-word. No
mhm.
other place other than Call of Duty lobbies. And I'm just like, what? I'm like, okay, whatever.
Yeah, the meanest things that have ever been said to me.
Yeah.
Well,
Oh, for sure. For
yeah,
sure.
absolutely.
Every
So
time I get faith in people and I'm like, hey, let's turn on the lobby chat. Let's see how it is today. It's like 10 seconds and I'm like, nope, muted. That's
So
funny.
yeah, I mean, it's hilarious. It's awesome. I love hearing it. We should be getting close to the end of this. The CMA does say that they will have their decision on the acquisition no later than April 26th. So again, the end is getting there. We are getting to the finish line here. I can't wait. Next up on the headlines, just a quick little tidbit. Resident Evil 4 Remake is doing very well. At last week, they surpassed 4 million copies sold, and their free Mercenaries DLC is out now. TJ says mine was FIFA. Mine was FIFA. What were we talking about?
Where mean things were said to him. I can imagine that. I've never played FIFA. Purple says World of Warcraft. See? Okay, I remember seeing mean things be said, but I never said them. Yeah.
I mean, like, well, I played RuneScape as a kid, and everyone was really nice on RuneScape. So I don't know. People were dope in RuneScape. Just
Yeah.
walking up to you like, "Hey, take this mithril armor," and I'm like, "Holy shit!"
Now, yeah, being a girl on World of Warcraft back in the day was rough. I remember that now.
Well, I mean, yeah, that's true. That's very fair. Um. Anyway, so yeah, Resident Evil 4 remake doing very well. I have not gotten around to playing this yet because Octopath Traveler 2 is a massive video game that I am just trying to
Yeah.
get through.
I have
Um,
watched multiple different streamers playing Resident Evil 4. They did such an amazing job on this game with the remake. It's incredible.
yeah, I can't wait to go back and play it, but or not go back and play it, but play it. Period. But yeah, it's doing very well. I did hear something that I did not put in the script. Apparently, it added some microtransactions to the game, which I was kind of disappointed in. But I mean, I don't know the extent of what they are, so I'm not going to really put a lot of opinions on it right now.
I would
Uh,
imagine it's just some skins because I didn't actually see anybody even looking at a store.
I think Yanya mentioned it,
Hmm.
but I didn't watch his video. But yeah, we'll have to see.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm excited to play Resident Evil 4 whenever I finally finish Octopath Traveler 2. I better finish it before like I need some time between that and Zelda. Like I'm getting scared. Going right from 100-hour game to Zelda, like, oh man. Oh boy. Not gonna be good for me. Well, it'll be great for me, but
Yeah.
bad for the amount of games I'm gonna play this year. All right. Next up, number 7, Joseph Staton is leaving 343 and Xbox. So originally it was reported by IGN, in which case they report that Joseph Staton, as I said, head of creative on Halo Infinite and cinematic director of the first 3 Halo games, is leaving Microsoft. The company has confirmed to IGN In its message, Microsoft did not say where Staton was headed next, nor the reason he was leaving Microsoft after the 9 years he was there. We're grateful for Joseph's contributions to the Halo franchise and Xbox as a whole, the statement from Microsoft spokesperson reads. We wish him all the best in his new adventure. Staton did go on Twitter himself to comment on this, saying, Hey folks, I'm indeed leaving Microsoft. I'll have more info to share soon, but for now, I'd just like to thank all my Xbox colleagues for all their understanding and support as I embark on a new adventure. Um, man, we talked about it a few weeks ago. Really kind of feels like Halo's gonna be taking a back seat for a little while here.
Yeah, I mean, with that guy leaving, that's pretty much all you can really imagine at this point, right? Especially
I
since
mean,
Infinite didn't do incredibly well.
yeah, so I mean, Infinite didn't do super well. TJ and I have talked at length about Halo Infinite. Um, and it's just with all the cuts at 343 and just the game underperforming and other studios kind of stepping up at Xbox Game Studios, just the work that Obsidian's doing, Bethesda's doing right now. It's a good time for Halo to take a step back, and it kind of sucks because that was Xbox's franchise, flagship franchise for what, 3 generations of consoles. Although I'm a huge Gears of War fan, but we'll have to see what happens. I would say let Halo take a break. Let it go off and take some time. Let the rest of the Xbox ecosystem carry the load for a few years.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't say like give it a complete rest. I would actually give Infinite a nice little shove in the right direction. Infinite had some really cool multiplayer stuff going on, but everyone was expecting that battle royale, and when they didn't get it, it was just like a huge letdown. So maybe give that thing a little shove in the battle royale direction and see if you can reignite some passion in the game, because Apex Legends is going on like 3-4 years now and they're staying strong, man. So if they can do it, just follow that blueprint, man.
Yeah, yeah, they definitely can do it. I think that they definitely have I think Xbox has the love and care for Halo to see it through. I think Halo's lore has stayed pretty consistent. The problem is it has to translate to the games. Um, and I would like to see them do better in that department.
Yeah.
Let's see. Real quickly, just want to say hello to everybody watching. Make sure you hit that like button and subscribe while you're here. We're talking about video games here on the Game Room Podcast. If you like wrestling, we talk about wrestling on Wednesdays and Fridays. We are talking about the news of the past week. Things we already talked about today was Pokemon Stadium coming to Switch in 2 days. Sony's PlayStation Handheld is on the way. And we were just talking about Halo and 343. We will be talking about the Mario movie soon, so stick around. And also feel free to say what's up in the chat and let's have some discussion. TJ says, I think Xbox just needs to get a new studio to take the Halo franchise forward. 343 can still do better, can still do it under new leadership. But Halo doesn't need to go away for 10 years. I can agree with that. I definitely think that's a fair statement. But let's move on to number 8 in the headlines. Again, very movie-filled week in the news, probably because of Mario. I mean, absolutely, it's because of Mario. But the Five Nights at Freddy's film will be premiering just in time for Halloween this year. The release date is October 27th, 2023. Jason Blum, the creator, said, the creator of the movie, said, Five Nights at Freddy's fans, you've asked and we've delivered. The FNAF movie is coming this Halloween on October 27th. 205 days until the party at the time he tweeted this. And that is the big news. So this movie had gone through reportedly some development hell, but it seems like it's getting on track and is coming this year. Jeff, how much do you know about Five Nights at Freddy's?
Uh, Besides what the characters look like, nothing.
So Five Nights at Freddy's has like a really fascinating lore. Like I would really recommend Jeff you like go watch Markiplier's playthrough of the series specifically. He's like the king of Five Nights at Freddy's.
Okay.
Uh, I would recommend it. Like these games are really like they're simple, but they're really cool. And the amount of lore they pack into these, like I don't know if you watch Game Theory, but like half of the Game Theory videos that come out these days are just constantly Minecraft videos. Or not Minecraft, these math videos because they're just constantly talking about different ideas and theories. It's pretty crazy.
People remember heartwarming
Okay.
ads.
Yeah, like a lot of stuff, like haunted animatronics and children being murdered by the haunted animatronics, and then the children die and become ghosts, and they possess the animatronics.
Oh, jeez.
Oh yeah, dude. There's a lot to Five Nights at Freddy's. You don't even know.
So
Yeah.
when I do
Sorry.
my pop figure sales on the Whatnot app,
Mhm.
like people are always asking for the Five Nights at Freddy's pop figures.
Mhm.
So we're gonna have to grab some over at the shop when we do those Whatnot streams.
Okay. Yeah, man. FNAF is big. FNAF is really big, and this movie's coming out, and we'll see what happens. I would probably watch that movie. I think I would.
I'll have to check it out. Sounds
Purple in the
crazy.
chat says that she needs to go see the Mario movie. You really do. We'll talk about it. I don't want to spoil my thoughts on it, but you really need to go see it.
It's
Everyone,
coming up here just in a few minutes though. So
yeah, we're getting there. Because that is it for the game headlines. Let's jump right in real quick to the game releases for the week of April 10th. Coming out this week, number 1, Sherlock Holmes: The Awakened. It's a remake coming to PS5, Xbox Series, PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC tomorrow on April 11th. Tron Identity, which they showed off at the last Nintendo Direct, I believe, will be coming out on Switch and PC on April 11th. Ghostwire Tokyo will be coming to Xbox Series X and S on the 12th as well. That is the Bethesda game that Sony paid for exclusivity rights for, because that's what Sony does. And now it's coming to Xbox. So there you go. Coming to Game Pass as well. Also on April 12th, I don't have it in the notes, but we will be getting Pokemon Stadium 1, not 2, but 1. 2 will probably be coming in a few months, I would imagine. And then on April 14th, the Mega Man Battle Network Legacy Collection comes out on PS4, Switch, and PC, which I actually am going to probably be picking that up. I think this is a pretty good week. Not a lot, but a lot of quality here, especially Ghostwire Tokyo and Mega Man. Those are the two that really I really want to get into.
I got some Ghostwire B-roll running right now. It looks interesting. You're like fighting mannequins. It's kind of odd.
Yeah, I have a lot of expectations for Tango Gameworks. So Jeff, this is the same studio that put out Hi-Fi Rush.
Okay.
And this is technically Xbox's Japanese game development studio. Sorry, TJ, I don't want to bring up Japan in the chat after the discussion you had on Discord earlier. I don't know if you saw that, Jeff, but that was fun. Him and Ed were going at it. And like, I don't know, they both kind of brought up Japan, and then they both said that the other person brought up Japan. It was really funny. Anyways, you should join the Discord. We have a lot of fun discussions in the Discord. If you're not already there. So yeah, I'm excited for this studio to see what they do under Xbox, but yeah, I'm probably gonna be checking out Ghostwire. I'm looking forward to it. So Jeff, I forgot to put this in the script, but you said earlier that you wanted to talk about a Redfall gameplay demo from IGN. Do you want to jump into that before we get into the Mario Brothers movie review?
Yeah. So one sec here. Let me bring that up.
Yeah, go for it.
So this Redfall trailer from IGN. Let's see here if I can. Yep, I got it right here. So I don't understand how this made it past, like, what's this? QC is what we would call it in my place, quality control.
You may.
So the gameplay that they use here is a player that is constantly running backwards, running away from the fights, not helping their teammates. Like, let me get into the meat of this here, and you'll see what I'm talking about here.
Mm-hmm.
So, is this the one? Yeah. So this player is basically backing up the entire time that they're playing. They miss basically all of their shots. It's just, I'm not trying to like rag on whoever they used here for this gameplay, but you would imagine that IGN being granted some, what do you want to call it? Some special privileges to be able to show a big chunk of gameplay for one of their big bosses in the game. And the person who's playing, it's just very obvious to somebody who is watching this that they either don't have any idea what they are doing in a first-person shooter game. Um, it honestly looks as if someone may have handed the controller to a child or, something like that. But when it comes to like what I was saying with the quality control, like I've seen other streamers put out a minute or two or three of gameplay that makes this look like alpha footage, you know what I mean? And this is supposed to be the most recent. And I'm wondering if IGN like had some sort of, we get to do whatever we want, you don't have a say in it type thing, cuz it's really bad, and I'm just very surprised that they let this footage go. Like
So
in this 2 minutes that we've been watching, this person's been hiding behind a wall and running through trees while his teammates are getting killed and need revives.
So to be clear, your issue is more so with the person playing the game, not the game itself, correct? Just want to make
Yes, the person playing the game. This game looks incredible. I've seen other gameplay that makes this look really good. For whatever reason, IGN put out this footage that I cannot understand what this person. They're sniping from 3 feet away right here and missing. Just nothing makes sense with what's going on with this person that's playing. And if you look at the comments on the IGN video, that's the first thing you'll see is who handed their little brother the controller. They're like, who's playing this? Like, what are you doing? It was just very odd because I watch a lot of gameplay footage from IGN, and it has never been like this before. I've never seen them. I don't want to say this like, they're not doing it on purpose, but it feels like they're purposely trying to make this game look bad,
Yeah.
But I don't
So
know.
I think
It was just something I wanted to touch on.
Yeah, no, I think what it came down to, I think a lot of times, obviously, people that work at IGN, to work at IGN, it's not about how good you are at games, it's how your ability to cover the games and speak on the games.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think that sometimes that can kind of come down to it. I also know that sometimes you kind of just get assigned to things. It doesn't mean it's your cup of tea. It's just IGN's, your workplace said you're covering this game this week. Um, so I try to take things like that with a grain of salt. But I mean, watching the gameplay because I didn't get to watch it yet today. You sent it to me today, but I was working.
Yeah.
It's definitely not very flattering gameplay, to be sure. But I mean, it happens.
I
But
mean, I could see like the teammates looked like they were doing better. I would imagine there was a 3-man team there, it looked like. Why didn't they use the footage from one of those other players? I don't know. Maybe it was just somebody in the company was like, hey, we promise to use your gameplay. It'll be awesome. And I feel bad for ragging on it. I really do. It's just, this is a big deal for a game. Like, advertising is everything in today's world. And for IGN to put out something like that, like, in their description, they're like, this is an awesome game. Check out the sweet, sweet loot you get. Like, they didn't talk bad about it. But man, whoever was playing, I'm sorry. I still feel bad ragging on their play, but that's just not what you put on a 2-minute review for a game,
yeah, I get it. No, I get it. I do. All right. Well, let's talk about the Super Mario Brothers movie. Let's
Yeah.
get into this review discussion. Now, Jeff, you have not seen the movie.
I have not. We are gonna be going sometime this week.
Okay. Now, so I have seen it, obviously. Dev has seen it as well. He was going to be here tonight, but again, he's out. He's under the weather. But so let's start off with the news about the movie. So the Super Mario Brothers movie is officially the biggest opening ever for an animated movie, beating out Frozen 2. Domestically, it has done 204.6 million, international 172.9 million, global $377.5 million. $1 billion box office run is now locked in. An incredible result for Nintendo and Illumination. Um,
Just awesome, man. Absolutely awesome.
so yeah, let's talk about this movie, right? So I mean, again, keep in mind, a film critic, I am not. So I'm looking at when I sat down to watch this movie, and also sitting down to kind of review this movie. I really looked at it from a sense of like, how did it make me feel watching it? Like in my enjoyment of it and stuff like that. And also, I tried to look at it in a somewhat critical sense. But obviously, this being a gaming podcast, the things that I was really looking for this movie were how true is it to the games? How enjoyable is it? Does it do the games justice? Um, and like, does it reward my fandom? Those were really the big four things for me. And I just want to say that I was absolutely smiling ear to ear from start to finish for this movie. Like, I was just like, it was just insane. I was just hardcore smiling, just cheesing it the whole time. I had such a good time and such a blast watching this movie. Um, the amount of love and care in this movie is absolutely stunning. You could tell that Nintendo definitely had their hands on this. You could just see it, especially after the Mario Brothers movie from 30 years ago. You just know that they were like, okay, well you guys can make this Illumination, but we're gonna be pretty hands on. And you see it. I mean, the movie opens with the Nintendo logo. Like that's what the movie
Oh
opens with.
wow, nice.
Yeah, it's just the Nintendo logo with an 8-bit Mario and Luigi waving. That's like the opening of the movie, and then it gets into the actual movie. Um, the amount of Easter eggs and moments, like the amount of Easter eggs and details about like in this film, like blew me away. Like it was way more than I was expecting. Like we were moments into the movie, and I had nudged Dev's shoulder 5 times. Like I'm talking like under 30 seconds. Um, like I don't want to really give too many spoilers away. I mean, I'll give you a freebie. So the movie kind of opens with Mario and Luigi in a restaurant. And the restaurant pays homage to an old Nintendo franchise that we spoke about during our Nintendo tier list last week.
Nice.
Um, and it's just like little things like that, and then bigger things that happen. There's just so much detail. Luigi had a cell phone in the opening scene, and his ringtone. I don't want to give it away, but I instantly like completely just popped for it. I was like, oh my god, this is incredible. Again, I don't want to give too much away, so I'm gonna try to be very vague. But yeah, the Easter eggs in this movie had me freaking out, and like the amount of stuff that was like in the backgrounds of scenes, like so much attention to detail, and it was just so they could put in, you know, these Easter eggs. And I need to go watch like the movie. I want to go see it again so I could see if there's anything that I missed. I'm sure I missed something, um, but I saw a lot of stuff, and I thought that was awesome.
I'm
Yeah.
really happy to hear that because I really want to go see this. And you know, some of the critiques I've heard of the movie are basically some people have said like, if you're not a fan of Mario, you're just gonna be like bored half the time.
No, I disagree with
But
that take completely.
I see that. But even if that were true, I'm like, what are you doing going and seeing a Mario movie if you're not a Mario fan? You know what I'm saying? Like, I get it's probably not true, but even still, it's like, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, to touch on that take, I would say that the movie is very enjoyable. Um, I found it super enjoyable, even in a terms of like, if it wasn't Mario, if it was like other characters, would I have went and seen this movie? I mean, based off what I like, I don't know if I would have, but sitting down to watch it, like if somebody had put it on for me, I'd be like, oh, this is a pretty good movie. Like it's the animation's incredible, which I'll talk about, and like but everything's really great about it. I don't really have a lot of issues with it.
Okay.
But
The
obviously,
audience seems to love it. It's got over 95%. So
yeah.
that's really good.
So yeah, so let's dive into the story a little bit. Again, gonna keep it vague. Um, so this movie follows the Mario brothers, Mario and Luigi, originally from Brooklyn, and they end up finding themselves in the Mushroom Kingdom. Obviously, Bowser is in the movie, and he does things that Bowser would do. Uh, again, I'm trying to keep it very vague for you guys.
No, you're good. You're good.
But Peach is in the movie, as we know. Donkey Kong's in the movie. Not gonna spoil how Donkey Kong comes into play exactly. But I would say that I could understand the critique of the narrative. I think the narrative is very straightforward. It's point A to point B, with fun times along the way. And I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing, but I could see why some people would want a little bit more. But again, I mean, it's a Mario Brothers movie made by Illumination, who makes Despicable Me or whatever, and the Minions. I don't know. I not necessarily a problem with it, but it was just something I noted. It was like, yeah, I mean, it's very straightforward. It's very like, hey, here's Mario. Here he is. He's going to meet the princess, and then X, Y, and Z happens, and they have to go from one place to another to stop Bowser, and et cetera, et cetera. But I enjoyed it. I also enjoyed the amount of time that they spent in Brooklyn because like they
Okay.
could have very easily, and I don't think this is spoilery, But like they very easily could have been like, hey, these are the Mario Brothers. They're from Brooklyn. All right, 5 minutes in, they're in the Mushroom Kingdom. No, we spend like 15-ish minutes in Brooklyn before we even get to the Mushroom Kingdom.
Oh, cool.
I really loved it because it really let these characters breathe. And I'm going to talk about the characters in my next few bullet points. But just the amount of time that they give Mario and Luigi, and no spoilers, but Mario's family, giving all of this time to breathe of who they are. Okay, so I will give one kind of brief spoiler because it's not really a spoiler. We know they're plumbers. So the movie opens with Mario and Luigi have started their own, their plumbing business. Now,
Yeah.
originally, the Mario Brothers, I don't know if you know this, Jeff, but Mario's first appearance on the NES outside of Donkey Kong, the arcade game, was in a game called Wrecking Crew. Mario was originally a part of a wrecking crew.
Okay.
And so the movie opens with the wrecking crew, and they're making fun. The guy from the wrecking crew is making fun of them for leaving the wrecking crew to be plumbers.
Ah,
Like, and again, like
that's awesome.
It's so awesome. But like little things like that, like details like that, was just so
Yeah.
enjoyable. Where it was
So
just
it was obviously
sorry.
made for Nintendo fans. That's perfect. I love that.
Yeah. Well,
And
again, there's a lot of Easter eggs in this movie that aren't just Mario Easter eggs. Like, I want to tell you so badly, but you have to go see the movie.
yeah, we're gonna go
Um,
see it.
Oddly enough, though, I didn't see any Zelda references, which I was like, what? What? How? Like, they were referencing some pretty niche or
Huh.
niche franchises, but like at least I didn't see anything Zelda. Maybe I missed it. But
There's no way you'd miss a Zelda reference.
yeah, there's no way. So I don't
But
know. Maybe they're holding it off because they want to make a Zelda movie. I would be down for it.
TJ asks, how was Chris Pratt as Mario? I heard he was decent.
So I'm gonna get into that. Did
Okay.
it? It's down my bullet points. So, but I will be getting there soon. Um, but overall I enjoyed the dynamic of the plot of this movie. Because they go a direction that you probably aren't expecting. It's not like a completely out of left field. Like everything makes sense for what happens and where they're going with it, but it's not. It's probably not what you're expecting this movie to be, in terms of the narrative. And I don't want to kind of like mislead people. Again, it's very hard to say without spoiling it. Um, but I enjoyed it. I also think that sets up really well for a sequel where like what I would expect, like if you had asked me what I thought this plot was going to be about, I think that plot's going to be in the sequel because this one doesn't go that way. But
Yeah.
I digress again. Let's get into the characters. Overall, I love the characters in the Super Mario Brothers movie. I think that they stay so true to what the characters from the games were while expanding upon them because obviously it being a movie, you have to expand on these characters and I think they just really kind of nailed this.
That's difficult to do. That's cool.
It really is. So like again, don't want to say too much, but like there are details about these characters that are just so niche that like a casual fan of Mario may not know this certain thing about Bowser, or may not know this certain thing about Luigi, for example. Or like, and I don't want to go too far into it, but like there was some really cool moments in this movie where I'm like obviously someone like me who's like really pays attention, like Bowser in this movie kind of reminded me of Bowser from Paper Mario from the
Oh,
N64.
nice.
Like, and it's just like, how did they like you know what I mean? Like that's a love and attention and detail. Like they were like, hey, remember the N64 RPG Mario game that like most casual Mario fans don't even know exist? What if like Bowser was kind of like that? And it's just like obviously there are more games where he is like that character, but it's really cool to see. I was also kind of really impressed with the like the character development in this movie. Like like Mario and Luigi and other characters, where we find them and where we leave them are two totally different places. It's kind of like remember in like the 93 Mario Brothers movie, this is like compare and contrast. Like in the 93 Mario Brothers movie, like they don't really change. They just kind of say fuck it, let's go along with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But in this movie like the Mario like these characters just grow and there's dynamics between them that I was really impressed with.
Nice.
I also really want to give the movie a shout out for Princess Peach's character. This iteration, alongside like Paper Mario, because again I'm a huge Paper Mario fan. Um, like this is a really good Princess Peach. Like, not just the performance from Anna Taylor Joy, but like just the character and the writing for her and like how she responds to situations. I really was impressed with it. I really liked it. Um, so I just wanted to
A,
kind
s-
of mention Peach.
a strong Princess Peach is a very important part too, man.
Yeah, definitely. Um, Overall, though, I love these characters and I love where we went with them. I love Bowser in this movie. I love Peach, Donkey Kong. It's probably my favorite version of Donkey Kong too, I'd say. Bless you. Um, Mario, Luigi, just their dynamic is really awesome, really special, and it's like it's the first time ever where like there's the running joke in the games that Mario and Luigi actually secretly hate each other. Like that's not the case in this movie. Like they're best friends. Like
Yeah.
they're absolutely best friends, and like we get some like flashback scenes from Luigi's memories that were really cool. And just yeah, it's just overall like a really awesome character. So let's talk about the cast. We've talked about the characters. Let's talk about how the actors did in their performances. And I just want to say that the cast almost unanimously home runs, absolutely.
Yeah.
Charlie Day as Luigi is incredible. Jack Black as Bowser, same thing. Like oh my god, like Jack Black as Bowser is just the most perfect. He did like such a good job at fusing the menacingness of Bowser with the other stuff that I was talking about earlier, and absolutely kills it. Um, Anna Taylor Joy did awesome. I think Seth Rogen as Donkey Kong was really awesome. So I don't want to say it. There's this really funny thing that happens, but I can't tell you. But I'll just say that Seth Rogen as Donkey Kong is perfect. There's a point in the movie where something happens and he says something, and I'm like, dude, that's like I can't even tell if this is just Seth Rogen being Seth Rogen or if this is like Seth Rogen being Donkey Kong.
Yeah. It's
Keegan
funny. A
Michael
lot of people were a lot of some or I don't want to say a lot. Some people were down on the movie because of Chris Pratt. I dislike Seth Rogen as much as those people dislike Chris Pratt. So, it's an even trade-off. You don't have to love everyone that's acting in your movies,
The Cougs here. What's up, Coog? He says, was that the 1993 one with John Leguizamo and Bob
Yes, it
Hoskins? It
was.
was. That was the one I was referring to. Yes. Um. So yeah, I thought that all these characters were awesome. Actors were awesome. Keegan Michael Key as Toad was also just a home run. Like just so perfect. Like these guys all crushed it. So the next one is Chris Pratt. How did I feel about Chris Pratt's uh performance? So here's the thing. Chris Pratt does a great job in this movie. Um, I don't want to label it as perfect because obviously, at first, it's a little jarring to hear Mario with like just a regular voice. I want to go back and watch the movie again, regardless, but like definitely kind of figure out how I feel about it. I think Chris Pratt's voice I would put it as it's fine. It doesn't, he doesn't do a bad job. It's just not what I expect Mario to sound like. However, there is a joke. They do poke fun at the fact that Chris Pratt is not doing like the Mario voice. And again, don't want to spoil it, but like the first few minutes of the movie has like a joke, where something happens. Can't say it. But upon reflection, I really do think that it's for the best that Pratt doesn't do like an over the top Mario voice because like I look at the rest of the cast and they're all just kind of them. You know what I mean? Like Luigi's not Charlie Day's not, hitting home with a Italian accent. Like Anna Taylor Joy is just speaking plainly. Jack Black obviously is being menacing and stuff, but he doesn't have an accent. He's not going super over the top except for when he's like growling at some points. So like no one else in the cast really goes like outlandish, you know what I mean? So like watching the movie and kind of over like thinking back on it, I think it was for the best that they did not have Mario with a like really like phony Italian accent. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
I think it would have been super distracting if Mario was just constantly and like obviously Charles Martinet, who plays Mario in the video games, he does have a cameo in this movie, and so he literally does the Mario voice at one point.
Oh,
Um,
nice.
yeah, so like again, there's a lot of love and attention to detail played here, but I would say that like it's not that Chris Pratt did poorly. He did a great job. He delivered his lines. His acting was good. I think some people are gonna find it a little like oh, that's not what Mario should sound like. But like when you go to watch the movie, just imagine 90 minutes of like Mario over the top, shrilly Mario voice. And like I would argue that it was an improvement to not go that route. But that's just me.
I mean, he
Uh,
sounded fine to me in the previews. I got no problem with his voice. So
yeah, and that would be my follow-up point. If you watch the trailers and you have no problem with it, then you're not going to have a problem with it in the movie. Chris Pratt doesn't do a bad job. It's a good performance by him. His acting's pretty spot on here. It's about what you would expect from Chris Pratt, I'd say. And I enjoyed it. I wouldn't change it, even though I'm not saying it's perfect. I still wouldn't change it. I think it's the way it should be.
cool.
All right, next up, let's talk about the visuals of the movie. Oh man, how are we doing on the likes here? I don't see that you're saying let's get up to 10 likes in the chat. Did we hit 10 yet?
I'm not sure. I haven't been able to refresh it here. Let me see if I can refresh.
Yeah, please do. If you
Yeah,
guys
we're
can
up to 5.
All right, so I see 15 of us in here. If you could get us up to 10, that would be awesome. We really appreciate that. Let's see. Coog loves talking video games, films, TV, music, wrestling, lucha. The Discord's for you. Absolutely, Coog. Thank you, man. All right, so the visuals of this movie. Illumination just killed it. Like the movie looks amazing. Just beautiful animation. Locations were at some points just stunning. If you've seen any of the posters like of the movie, you know what I'm talking about. Like just Mario standing looking out over the Mushroom Kingdom. There's multiple moments of that you are in the movie that aren't seen at posters. Um, it's just incredible. And again, the amount of details and backgrounds is also amazing, super impressive. A lot of them are Easter egg filled. You have to go back, look at multiple stuff. And it's just, oh man, like the amount of details is amazing. And it was just so well done. Bringing certain things in the Mario universe to movie screen was just special in this movie. And again, I mean, like, is it spoilery to talk about things in the trailer, Jeff?
No, I'm playing the trailer right now.
Okay. So like the Rainbow Road stuff is just fucking cool. Like the fact they went on Rainbow Road in this movie, and I'm not gonna talk about what happens on Rainbow Road, but the Rainbow Road scene is amazing. It's just all super enjoyable, awesome stuff. Absolutely love it.
Yeah, I like how in the preview they show a spot where there's the pyramids up in the sky and they're in a desert. I'm like, oh, that's Super Mario 3. Let's go.
Yeah, man. Like I'm telling you, like there is so much love and like just care about the Mario franchise. Like if you love Mario, like and really almost any generation of Mario, like it delivers. It really does. I'm looking at the B-roll. I'm a few seconds behind, but like this scene with Mario and Donkey Kong running around, like that's a really cool scene that like fans of the older games would appreciate a few things that happen in that scene. Um, it's just it's just really cool.
Obviously, on the Rainbow Road here, they're doing a Mario Kart race. Like, they definitely showed that. So I can't wait for that scene. Oh my god.
Dude, I really might go see this movie again this week. Like, I really might. I really love it.
Yo, since we need to go see it, let's try to all go see it together.
Yeah, let's see what we can do.
See if there's any way we can all plan it out.
Yeah, I'd be down.
We'll do yeah, Thursday night would be perfect.
That's really funny because I'm off Thursday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. We'll talk about it. We'll figure it out. All right. Let's see. So let's get into my next part of the review, which is the sound. I just want to touch on this a little bit. Don't want to sound like a broken record, but the music was phenomenal. It had me smiling from beginning to end. There are moments in the movie where they just take music from the games and kind of like fuse them into a film soundtrack where it's like they're not just straight up playing the songs, but they're just like kind of meshing it together in like a medley kind of way, and it's so good. There are just points where like again, this isn't really a spoiler, but so at one point they're in like the underground area and like Mario and Luigi are walking and like very briefly you hear the like the like but it's
Oh, hell
very
yeah.
it's very like light and like it's not like too much. It's just kind of floating in the air.
That's awesome. Oh,
It's just great. Yeah, I would recommend it, Coog. It's a really fun time to be had. It's a great way to spend 92 minutes. That would be what I would say. Um, But I was just smiling throughout the whole thing. And again, I'm not going to spoil it, but so Jack Black has a musical number in this movie.
Yes.
I found out today that it is Oscar eligible. Or Emmy.
Really?
It's either Oscar or Emmy, I forget which one, but I saw it today.
Yeah, why wouldn't it be? Yeah, it's in a movie.
Yeah. So I am going to be on the pushing for this song, for this performance to win. Absolutely. But yeah, so I really enjoyed that. So overall, my final thoughts on the movie. Quite frankly, I am in love with the Super Mario Brothers movie. It does a perfect job at being true to the games, but not following so close that it doesn't make sense in the film. And like this is like a really big thing that like game movie adaptations really kind of fumble a lot in is like, well, how close do you want to follow it? Do you want to like follow it really like to the like to the T? Because sometimes games and movies don't translate very well. Or do you want to just kind of take bullet points and work around it, and then it has nothing to do with the movie? You know what I mean? And it just sucks. I think that this movie does a really great job at taking what makes Mario great and then kind of adapting it to a movie. Like, I don't want to tell you about the Rainbow Road scene, but there's like, it makes sense how they do the Rainbow Road scene. And like it would just be like kind of weird. Like, well, wait a second, why is like all the bad guys and the good guys having a Mario Kart race? Like, they're like, I can't explain it because I don't want to spoil it. But
you hit the nail on the head though. It's hard to translate some things from a game to a movie, and I think that's been the downfall of a lot of other video game adaptations to movies.
Yeah, it really is. It's like you don't want to follow it too closely, but you also don't want to follow too far away. You want to find that sweet spot, and I really think that this movie does that. I think it does a perfect job. It really just feels like a love letter to Mario fans, but also Nintendo fans, while still being a fun movie for kids. There were kids in the theater when we saw it; they loved it. Myself, 30-year-old man, I also loved it. So it's like, all right, there you go.
Coog, I have not seen it yet. So Coog asks, does it follow canon storylines?
So, yes. Like it doesn't the plot of the movie doesn't straight up replicate any one game, but like everything in it. So I guess no, I guess it's not canon. Yeah, it's not canon. But everything that happens in the game is very on brand with the games. So like again, not really a spoiler, Luigi, total scaredy cat.
Okay, yeah.
And Charlie Day as a scaredy cat Luigi, it's as perfect as it sounds. Trust me. But so I love the performances in this movie, like for sure. Just thinking back on it right now, even. But yeah, so it's like it's not canon, but it follows the games, I would say.
That's good. That's exactly what it needs to be, and I'm just glad you said it because I was going to bring it up. Sometimes these video game movies or television shows, they try to like go out of their way to do something that just doesn't need to be done. Like Halo, for example. They took the sweet spot and smashed it with a hammer by taking off, Master Chief's helmet like right away. And they're like, hey, look at Master Chief. Exactly. And it's like, why would you do such a thing? That was so far out of what you needed to do. It made no sense,
So they could build up to showing off his butt.
Oh, yeah, okay. Keep his helmet on. It would have been funny.
That would have been funny. So, yeah, so my biggest issue with this movie, and really the only problem I have with this movie, which some would argue, again, not really a problem, is the runtime. So this movie clocks in at 92 minutes. It doesn't overstay its welcome. It gets in, tells its story, and it gets out. There were certain sections of the plot that feel rather rushed to me. I would have loved an extra 15 minutes for this movie. I would have loved to spend more time in this world, which some people could say that that's a great thing. Me, I was like, oh, why is this movie over? Like,
I would imagine we definitely got about 15 minutes of stuff that may have been cut, and we might get like a nice director's cut. That'd be sweet.
Yeah, it would be. All I wanted from this movie was more. I want to see this movie again. I will say this: stick around. There is a mid and post credit scene for this movie.
I was gonna say I heard there were two actually post credit scenes.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So there's a mid credit scene and there's a post credit scene.
Okay.
So there are two.
Nice.
The post credit scene is worth sticking around for. Good. Not gonna say what happens. I was joking with Dev, and obviously this isn't what happens, although I fucking wish it would have. So I was joking with Dev that like I was like, man, I really want the end credit scene to be like Mario walks into his house, and Samuel Jackson's there to tell him about the Smash Brothers initiative. I thought that would have been funny.
Dude, Illumination just put out the Bowser music video from the movie.
Oh shit!
I'm like, dude, I wish I could play this on here. I don't know if they would strike us.
They probably would. I would not risk it.
Yeah, I'm not gonna play it on here, but if you guys want to see it, it's called Bowser Peaches. Official music video just came.
Yeah, the name of the song is called Peaches.
I don't know if I want to watch it before I see the movie. I'm gonna have to.
I wouldn't. No, Jeff. I would say don't. Like, go see this movie. Like, that's my recommendation. My next line is the final score for this review. I gave it a 9.5 out of 10.
Woo!
I'd give it a 10 if it was like a half hour longer.
Wow,
And like again,
nice.
some could argue that that's not a problem. It's like, hey, it doesn't overstay its welcome. It doesn't add unnecessary stuff. Gets in, tells a fun story. You know, makes you reminisce about 30 years of fandom. You know, and whatever, and does a great job.
Oh, that's perfect, man. Makes for a quick date night. Get in, get out. Yeah.
So I love this movie, and the bar is set. You know, like between this and Last of Us, which obviously I haven't seen Last of Us yet, but it's, you know, critically and commercially and fan acclaimed. The bar is set. Like all these games coming out with movies and TV shows, like, all right, well now you gotta now the bar is set. You know, like Mario Brothers was excellent, Last of Us was excellent. Whether it's a cartoony game or a serious game, like there is now top tier like leaders in place where it's like, well, now that's the standard bearer. And I think that Mario Brothers absolutely crushes it.
That's awesome. Very glad to hear that. Definitely gonna have to talk to you about Thursday night though, man. After I get off, I might try to get out like an hour early. Maybe we all go see it.
Yeah, definitely. I'll let the wife know. I'm sure she'll be down. I mean, I definitely want to see it again. So that's a definite for me. But yeah, I mean that's pretty much all I got here tonight. Do you have anything else you want to add or any more questions about the movie?
No, actually, that's about all I want to know. I'm gonna have to resist watching this Peaches video. He's sitting there on a piano. Oh man.
Yeah, I wouldn't do it. Just let it be, man. I'm just telling you, just let it be. Just wait.
Yeah, I will.
Um,
The Coog says he's seen more AEW pay-per-views at the theater than actual movies in the past 6 months. Getting picky about the movies. Yeah, that's something I've been wanting to say too, man. Coog, that is one of the funnest experiences, going to a movie theater for a wrestling pay-per-view. It's crazy how fun that is.
Yeah, maybe that's what we'll do for Double or Nothing. We'll see.
Oh, that'd be a good idea. I'll see if they'll let us film it.
What theater usually does it in Chamonix?
AMC.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
So Oxford Valley is where I went, I believe.
Okay.
I can't remember though. I think it was Oxford Valley. Yeah.
Okay. Maybe it's all AMCs. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
All right. Well, this has been a lot of fun. Thank you to everyone hanging out with us here. This has been episode 21 of the Game Room Podcast. Again, please hit that like button and subscribe on your way out. We'd really appreciate it. Thank you to everyone that was hanging out with us here today. We had a pretty good amount of views over the course of the show. Once again, thank you to everybody. Join our Discord. We have really awesome conversations about video games, wrestling, sports, you name it, we do it all. If you like pro wrestling, we talk about AEW mostly, but pro wrestling in general on Wednesdays and Fridays with our Dynamite and Rampage reviews. Jeff, I'm going to a New Japan show here in South Philadelphia on Sunday. Did you see who I'm going to be watching ringside?
Yeah, I'm jealous now. That's a good card.
They replaced Eddie Kingston with Orange Cassidy, and like while it sucks that I won't see Eddie, like that's like ringside for an Orange Cassidy match.
I mean, if by any miracle, chance, craziness, Eddie watches this, I'm sorry, Eddie, but that's actually an upgrade in my book. Getting to see the international champion right now, I would be so happy.
I know. I'm so stoked.
But anyways, I'd still be pissed not getting to see Eddie. I'm sorry, Eddie. I'm sorry. He's gonna kill me.
Eddie's like, well, I'm glad you like the Mario movie at least. But again, thank you to everyone hanging out with us. Follow our social medias in the description down below. We will see you guys on Wednesday for the Dynamite review.
Right on. Peace.